Gentlemen, welcome to the Longevity Strength Coach YouTube channel. My name is Paul Green, and in this video, I am looking directly at you. I am looking at the man that says that he struggles to lose body fat. My promise to you, and by the end of this video, you are going to fully understand how to make small, logical, effective changes to your meal plan and your output to ensure that you continue to lose weight. It's all good thinking, Monday, I'm going to start eating more healthy. But it's even better knowing what to do on the move when things aren't going your way. What should you be looking for? How can you track whether you are heading in the right direction? What should you do if you aren't making progress? This is extremely important. So the plan. First thing I'm going to touch on is which data points must be tracked. Now, you need to track certain data points daily. You need to track certain things weekly. Remember, data drives decisions. Men, without data, without logic, we are absolutely useless. Especially when you're thinking about weight loss, fat loss. The last thing we want is emotions running rife. With that in mind, when do we make changes? When do we not make any changes? And I'm going to take you through a meal plan that I use for a client who was on a weight loss mission for the past 12 weeks. He actually had type 2 diabetes, and we've managed to get rid of his type 2 diabetes as well. Two birds with one stone. If that sounds all right, get yourselves comfortable. Grab a notebook. There's literally about 5 ridiculously important points on this video. I have no doubt in my mind that yous can follow a meal plan. But the problem is, 2, 3, 4 weeks into it, you don't get any results. You don't know what to do. So that's why I've created this video. A bit of background about me, for those that have just joined the channel. My name is Paul Green, and there I am. A young paratrooper, physical training instructor, and a special forces support group operator. Most of my time in the past decade has been training hundreds, probably close to thousands, of elite individuals across the fence. And yes, sometimes part of it is weight management, advising people on losing weight. However, the priority in my delivery is always performance. And one of the problems people have when they go onto a weight management, especially weight loss, is that their priority is the scales. It's not performance. And this needs to be out of your brain, out of your mindset at the earliest possible instance. Performance will ensure that you can train to a high standard, function to a high standard, and still lose weight if you are on a small calorie deficit. Anyway, this is the longevity program pathway. It's a 36 week cycle. This blended in with your goals will get you to where you need to be. If you fancy doing it, jump on a call with me. Links are in the channel somewhere. Anyway, the main data points which must be tracked are daily weight. As soon as you get up in the morning, be in the toilet, jump on a set of scales. Track your weight. How many steps you are doing daily, how much cardio you are doing daily, the daily calories, and weekly photos. Now, you're probably looking at me thinking, Jesus Christ, that's 5 data points, 4 of which you weren't even doing. Okay, people might be weighing themselves weekly. Steps probably wasn't even in the equation. Cardio probably wasn't in the equation. Obviously, you're on a meal plan, you're looking to lose body fat, so your daily calories is probably something that you are paying close attention to. The photos adds an extra layer to this equation. Daily weight. The reason these data points are crucial, and it's important that early days you get these embedded into your day-to-day life, because men, we are not emotional creatures. Women can handle emotional behaviours way better than we can. We need evidence, we need numbers flowing through our brain in order for us to make good decisions. Especially when you're in a calorie deficit, the last thing you want is for you to be hungry, furious, and have bad intentions. You will have a meltdown. So it's important to just monitor the data. And I get it. Instilling this on week 1 is a big deal. And trust me, when you get out of bed in the morning and go to the toilet and you're jumping on some scales and writing down how much you weigh, it's annoying. However, when you monitor this closely, you can then logically either add a little bit of cardio to your day, could start 10 minutes per day, 20 minutes per day, and you can add steps into your day. Now, for example, to bring this to reality, everybody on the longevity program, if they're on a weight management, weight loss mission on the fundamentals block, I will take their baseline calories and I will reduce that calorie by 10%, which isn't a lot at all. Let's say, for example, somebody that weighs 100 kilos, their baseline calories is like 2,900 calories. I'll be prescribing them 2,650 calories, which is a reasonable amount of calories, especially when you tidy up their diet and they're eating actually a fair amount of volume of food. However, they will be doing 10,000 steps daily. This is week 1. Their daily cardio on week 1 will be 0. The calories is minus 10%, and they will conduct their photos on week 0 and then at the end of week 1. Does that make sense? Because I don't start them off with cardio because I want to have that in my back pocket in order to bring it in. I want to see how the numbers go, because you're just guessing. You know, all these coaches, amazing coaches in the world, we're all just guessing. You know, physiotherapists, just guessing about the joints. In the interim phase, everybody is just guessing, right? But it's important that you guess quickly. Get yourself to where you need to be quickly. So you've instilled the meal plan. You're doing it. You're doing the weight, you're doing the steps, you're doing the cardio, whatever needs to be done, and you are monitoring the weight every day. This should stay the same, this should stay the same, and this should stay the same. You are monitoring this will change, it'll go up and down. Every single day it'll go up and down. But the common trend, if you're on a weight loss mission, should be down. And it's very important that you do not undercut your calories too much. Because if you're going to undercut it too much, what's going to happen? You're going to have a meltdown. It's not sustainable long term. Very hard to think long term when you're in a large calorie deficit. So I've tapped a bit deeper into them. Hopefully you appreciate that. Any questions on anything I've just said there, please leave them in the comments below. While we're here, we'll go into the misconceptions. Honestly, the nutrition industry, the food industry is an absolute shambles, right? You go into a food aisle with smoothies and very unhealthy foods, low fat, high protein, low sugar, so many different options. So the misconception is carbs are bad. Carbs fuel your performance in the gymnasium. Eating carbs around your training session is crucial to absolutely smashing your gym sessions, building muscle, improving your basic metabolic rate, so then you can eat more food in the future and you have more muscle, stronger joints, more resilient joints. Eating a lot is counterproductive. Some people are under the perception that when you're on a meal plan, you are not allowed to eat much food. When you're on the longevity program, you can guarantee one of my priorities when I'm writing your meal plan is making sure you have a lot of volume of food. Because if you've got a lot of volume, you're not going to get hungry. You are going to stick to that meal plan. Another misconception, you can't enjoy certain foods. If you have a meal plan that doesn't align with your basic necessities, obviously I'm not saying that you can eat pizzas and shit, that's a basic necessity. For example, just the basic things that you would really appreciate as part of your meal plan. For example, in the UK, a lot of my clients like to drink cups of tea. Now, they like milk in their tea. So I will take 250 calories out of their daily meals and I will allocate them 1 pint of milk so they can continue to enjoy something that may seem simple. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not to say you can't enjoy certain foods. And if events come up on the weekend, you would just shave 150 calories, 200 calories off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then you've got an extra 1,200 calories to have on Saturday for a date with the missus. Do you know what I mean? So as long as you plan in advance, you can still enjoy. We just got to be extremely logical. Men, this is just numbers. And there's this misconception as well. You do not need to track the data. If you're just winging it, your results are not going to be consistently in the right direction. Does that make sense? Anything, if you're taking anything in life seriously, you're going to be taking notes. And yeah, the most important data point is your daily weight. And I don't know anybody that enjoys doing this. You know, people enjoy doing this when they are actually losing weight every single day. It's great. It's like a little dopamine hit on the morning. Yeah, I'm heading in the right direction. Don't get fixated on the scales because the pictures are actually pretty important too on the week. Because I've had many a times where somebody has not lost any weight on the scale, but they've gained muscle and actually lost a lot of body fat. So I'm going to talk about this and then I'm going to go on to my coaching app and I'm just going to bring it to life straight away. So when to make changes? You have started a meal plan in which the goal is for you to lose a certain amount of body fat per week. And it has come to a point where you're no longer losing weight. Weight is one variable, right? But you cannot just go off weight. You have to look at the pictures as well. If you're doing weight training sessions, you will be gaining muscle if you are training at a good intensity. So weight isn't absolutely... Weight by itself can be misleading. Do you know what I mean? So, like I've just said earlier on week 1, I will have people that are on a weight management plan for weight loss minus 10% calories generally. If they're a little bit heavier, then I'll go minus 15%, maybe minus 20%. But I want to start them on as high calories as possible because the chances are when you are prescribing healthy foods to somebody, they will lose weight for the first couple of weeks anyway, especially when they're training and when they're doing 10,000 steps. So, if at the end of week 1, photos are in and the person hasn't lost any weight, what do I do? Well, the first thing I do is I do not panic, and I recommend this is the priority for you. You must not panic when the numbers don't go in your favour. Because you have some variables in which you can make one small change and then run it for another week. For example, 20 minutes of extremely light cardiovascular training. This could be a brisk walk or a slow jog or some gentle mountain biking. 20 minutes every day. And then run exactly the same plan for another week. Then we look at the daily weight, we look at the photos, and then we assess again, we reassess. Does that make sense? If in that scenario the weight still doesn't drop, what else can we do? Well, we can add an extra couple of thousand steps. Or, in that instance, we could take 10% off the calories. It's very important that you acknowledge that you have a couple of steps in which you can take before you reduce the food. Reducing food needs to be the last thing in which you alter. Because as the weeks go on, if you're thinking long term, 2, 3, 4 months down the line, if the first thing you are going to is reduce calories, you're going to have barely any calories left to work with, to fuel high performance, to fuel these cardio sessions, to fuel these steps, to fuel your long-term adherence. Does that make sense, gentlemen? I'm going to go onto my app now, and I'm just going to try and bring this all to life. Right, so we have client here, and he's been on this app now for about 8 weeks. And as you can see, start weight 118, and he's currently at 111.2. The data points I track daily for the guys is sleep, energy, weight, and meal adherence. This guy currently, I've got him on 40 minutes of cardio. He owes me 2 minutes. 40 minutes of cardio per day. However, he is later into his program. This is his last week with me, I think. Look, 40 minutes, morning run. Judo, he's done 60 minutes. So he's over currently on his cardio for this week. Or for the week anyway. He still needs to fill out today. But I didn't start off doing 40 minutes of cardio here. Look, every day he tells me his sleep is energy and he weighs himself. He started off 10 minutes of cardio. Then it was 20 minutes, week 2. And then I kept him on that formula for 6 weeks. And look at this, right? So look at the numbers here. The numbers are going down in the right direction. Last week, 112.9. Look at this, 112.9, 113, 112.9, 112.9. So it was on Sunday, when I do his weekly, where I summarise up his week, I made a change. I tightened the screw. So on Sunday, I reduced his calories by 10%. Because he was already, last week, he was already doing cardio, 40 minutes of cardio. And I was like, he's not even losing weight. What the hell's going on here? So this is when I reduced food. Yeah? So here I reduced food. The weight's coming down nicely. But it's not, as long as you've got them 3 variables to play off. Cardio, steps, food. In that order. Gentlemen, I cannot stress it enough. In that order. Because look at the previous week. So we've got the 23rd here. Let me just double check. Last week. Look at this. He doesn't lose weight here as well. Right? And let's go, what variable did I change? He's on 40 minutes of cardio here. And his weight was barely moving again. So I've had 2 weeks of the same. So I'm getting to my limit here as a coach. I'm like, right, what do I need to do now? Do I need to add steps or do I need to reduce food? Add cardio. Add steps, reduce food. But you can see everybody's formula right? I'll go back to my slides in a sec and calm it all down because this is probably battering your head. For some reason he's not put his weight on, but look, 116, 115, 115. This guy really struggled to lose weight. Really struggled to lose weight. His metabolism's battered after decades of abuse, eating bad foods. He had type 2 diabetes. And he just slowly, just by following them three things, and I always say, if the numbers don't change, I will tighten a screw. And then one thing gets changed. And now you're probably interested, probably very interested at this point. What is he actually eating? You know what? I'm gonna go back to my slide just so I don't venture off too much, because I wanna make sure that I'm not waffling. So with everything I've just said in mind, right? You're probably very excited now. I don't blame you, because this is fucking great stuff, right? When the scale weight is on track, or when the photos show clear positive changes, there's going to be many occasions in these weeks where you are the same weight as last week. And if you're not taking photos weekly in the same lighting, in the same position as the previous week, the scale weight might look the same, but you might have gained friggin' half a pound of muscle. You might have lost body fat. Do you know what I mean? Photos are necessary every single week. Hopefully that makes sense. So don't make changes if everything's heading in the right direction. And like I said there, don't rock the boat. I'm just going to double check this next one. Yeah, I'm going to go back to his meal plan in a sec. But applying this to use now. Everybody has a different formula, right? You go on the internet, you do a calorie calculator, and you work out how much weight you want to lose per week. Apply that to your goals short term. I recommend you forgetting about the short term. Forget about the next month. Forget about the next 2 months. Think long term, 3, 4, 5 months, and make some small changes. Find your formula, right? But there's no rush. You're on a meal plan. You're eating well. You should be training well. You're doing your steps. If the numbers don't go in the right direction after week 1, add 20 minutes of cardio every single day. Very light cardio. I cannot stress enough that this cardio has to be low-level aerobic training. Aerobic training uses the air and body fat as energy. If you creep up the intensities, your body doesn't use air and body fat as energy anymore. It uses air and glucose as energy. Glucose then means you're using the body's energy reserves, which are already finely balanced because you're on a weight loss meal plan. Those carbohydrates which you burned after doing high intensity cardio need to be replaced. And if they're not replaced, what's going to happen? Your body's going to get hungry. So low intensity cardio, it needs to be cardio choices which you can do as much of, and the intensity of them does not impede any of your weight training sessions. Does that make sense? And once you have got the formula, right, you'll have calories set for yourself, your meal plan, you're doing your meal prep, everything's going smoothly, you're doing your 20 minutes of cardio, you're doing your 10,000 steps every single day. The numbers are heading in the right direction. They might be heading in the right direction for 1 week or 12 weeks. Honestly, everybody's different. You know what I mean? Everybody's different. It could be the stress, your stress level. It could be from work. It could be family life. That is limiting your body's ability to lose fat. However, don't worry about it. Don't dig into the intricacies. You've got them 3 variables to play with. Just make sure you track the data and you tighten one screw at a time, then run it for another week. Reassess. Sometimes you don't need cardio. Sometimes you could just run a meal plan for 10 weeks lose loads of weight, don't need to add cardio, don't even add any more steps. It's crazy. Some people just lose body fat really easily. Some people don't. And it requires a little bit more thought. But like I say, tighten the screws, but only do one at a time. Cardio first. Add cardio daily, which is output. Steps, again, very recoverable, low stress on the body, output. And then finally, reduce input, which is calories. I'm going to go back to my meal plan because I want to show you what he is eating. Because this guy, CH, came to me with type 2 diabetes. He was on medication for type 2 diabetes. And diabetes is where the insulin response to the body is messed up massively. And you have to take synthetic insulin to facilitate your blood sugar or sugar going into the muscles. That's a pretty complicated thing, right? So how do I make it simple? I just tell him, mate, you're not eating carbohydrates. I didn't tell him that. I just said, this is your meal plan. Eat that for 12 weeks. Right? The meal plan I prescribed for him because he's on type 2 diabetes doesn't matter. It's still, look, he's on 1700 calories, bless him. Right? But this is the end of his block. Do you know what I mean? Don't be feeling sorry for him. This is the end of his block. But the rules in which I had to play with regards to prescribing this meal plan were me trying to get rid of his type 2 diabetes, and you can get rid of it. So if you're sat there now with type 2 diabetes, if you give yourself a 3-month period of a ketogenic diet, you will give your body enough of a breather after decades of abuse, so then you can slowly start bringing some healthy carbohydrates back into the mix, and you won't need to take medication if everything goes smoothly. This is just personal experience from me coaching a guy on my longevity program. Anyway, as you can see, the food that he's eating: eggs, butter, pretty bare bones at the moment, but previously there was a lot more food here on his earlier weeks, as you can probably imagine. The amount of times I've had to add cardio and reduce calories, add steps, reduce calories, add more cardio. Do you know what I mean? The amount of times I've been through that process with him. Now he's on end of week 12 now, finishing week 12. Anyway, look, meals. Look, barely any carbs. 30 grams of protein, 30 grams of fat. 50 grams of protein, 24 grams of fat. 17 grams of protein. This is a pre-gym meal. Greek yogurt, berries, chia seeds. A bit of carbs here. Fair enough. We've got shake. And we've got end of day meal, 400 calories, 40 grams of protein, 20 grams of fat. If carbs are causing his body, if he needs to have medication every time he eats carbohydrates, it's probably because he's made the wrong choices of carbohydrates for decades. You know, fizzy drinks. Fizzy drinks are ruthless for this, by the way, and refined carbohydrates. Anyway, if you've got any more questions on this type of stuff, please leave us a comment and we can get into it, or I'll just do another video on this stuff. If you forget everything, actually no, you know what, let's just start wrapping it up there. Concluding thoughts, gentlemen. Everyone is different. You know, we're all different shapes and sizes. We all have different family lives. We all have different outputs with work, different stress levels. Our bodies will hold on to body fat differently. But this format works. This way of thinking works. These principles work. And they will work for you. It's not easy. Do you know what I mean? It's not easy because it still requires a lot of discipline, a lot of sacrifice. A lot of you saying no because there's going to be people throwing curveballs at you. Oh, do you want some of this? I've made this. You're like, I've got my meals. Sorry. But you can have these meals with these people if you just plan for it. You know, give yourself a week out. Right, I'm having a meal with the missus every Saturday. You just have to account for it, but also weigh that up with how that deduction in calories from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday may affect your performance in the gym Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday for the sake of one meal. Then you're like, is it really worth it? Track the data. Weight daily. How many steps are you doing every day? How much cardio are you doing every day? And if you are not doing any cardio during the day, I'm not telling you to do cardio. I'm just telling you to track everything, run it for a week. If you're not losing body fat, or the scale weight isn't going down, and the pictures are not heading in the right direction, then make one change, or like I say, tighten one screw. Make sure that screw, in the first instance, is not calories. Because if you reduce the calories on week 1, and you don't have the cardio, and you don't have the steps, you're going to be on about 700 calories after about 12 weeks. Not sustainable for a man who has frigging aspirations of getting strong, resilient joints, and becoming more athletic. The whole purpose of this, men, right, is to ensure that you have a logical action in place when things don't go how you want them to. If things don't go how you want them to, it's very easy to get emotional. It's very easy to get annoyed. It's just a process. And this process will help you, be a bit more relaxed about the situation and be able to think long term. The more long term you think, the less emotions kind of creep into the equation. The more short term you think, the more emotions are involved. Think long term, honestly. Think 12 weeks minimum, 12, 16 weeks. Give yourself a lot of time to get this right. It's going to take you a couple of weeks to instill some of the habits, to let the meal plan just fully embed into your body, into your output. Gather a week's data, a couple of weeks' data, then see where you're at. Is it going in the right direction? Do I need to make a change? If you don't need to make a change, crack on and milk that current formula for as many weeks as possible. And just be grateful that you're not making a change every couple of weeks. Gentlemen, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Very passionate. Love doing this stuff. Love talking about the nitty gritty of losing body fat. Thanks for your time. You're not getting that time back. I appreciate that you spend it watching my YouTube video, this educational lecture. Any questions on any of this stuff, give us a shout. If you want to be coached by me personally, then the links are in my bio, and we can definitely look to get that sorted for you. See you tomorrow.